Hi everybody, I'm Manucha from Moms and Crafters and welcome to my new YouTube channel. So I've been running Moms and Crafters for many years and I've also been running my sub-blog, my sister blog, Jewish Moms and Crafters, for quite a few years. And although Moms and Crafters is much older and I started many different channels for it, there were many years where I neglected YouTube, and recently I started trying to get as many crafts as possible onto YouTube as well for the more visual learners among us. Now, I kind of decided that I'd rather separate it, so I'm doing a very brief thing, and even though I have a ton of content already live on my existing YouTube channel, I decided to make this new channel specifically for my Jewish craft. Purim is coming up. It is one of my favorite holidays to craft for. It's just so much fun. And today we're going to be making some paper plate masks. Now, paper plates are actually perfect for making masks because they have the right shape and you have the curve that goes over the face. But of course, you are going to need to actually do some things to turn it into a mask. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do this now that are a little bit more specific, but I want you to know that there are infinite ways that you can use paper plates to make masks. My kids had lots of fun with them. Some of my kids wrote their names on them, so I won't be sharing the final results. I don't share my kids' full names over here. But I will show you, this is the mask that my 9-year-old made from scratch. He did want to cut out his own mask. He did not leave a nose hole, but he can still wear it. There's breathing space underneath. And this was his idea to add the cat features. So you can see the kids can get really creative with it. For the younger kids, I did pre-cut masks. And you can see that we started with many different shapes to begin with, and I will show you how to create all of those. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe if you love Jewish crafts. I'm starting from scratch, literally from zero. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button, share this new channel with your friends. So to start off our mask, now if you're doing this with children, you will want to prepare this in advance. We're going to trace a general outline. So there are different ways you could do it. We are using an existing mask, but of course, if you don't have one, you can measure on somebody's face to begin with, and we're going to decide where we want the placement of our eyes, and we're going to just make holes. And let's say we want it to end over there to go up by the nose over there. So once we make this one and we make sure it's good, we will have our mask template. So that's mask one, and we are going to make 2 from each thing. So once we made that template, we're going to, here, let's cut this out a little more like that. Let's even this out. And we are going to cut our eyes. We're actually going to take the first eye, flip it over, and use that to trace a better second eye. And again, we only have to do this on the first mask because then we're going to use this mask to trace others. I see that my placement isn't perfect, but that's fine. Okay, the shapes will be roughly identical. All right, now we can use this area. We could leave it on or we could cut it off. We could cut it around here. We could cut the contour. Obviously, you would want to test it on the kid who's wearing it if you have a kid wearing it, but this is great. So now we're going to take this and we're going to trace it on this plate. And now we're going to center it a little bit better. So we at least have our eye centered. You might not even want to use your first mask. And here we won't be able to do as much over there. But let's also cut off the nose. So let's make this a good shape. You actually want to go like this. And what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go like this. and like this. And I do encourage you to give kids, you know, sort of these random shapes, see what they come up with, but I'm obviously having this in mind for a crown. And we're going to cut a bunch of masks like this in different shapes, and I'm going to come back and show you what to do next. So you can see that I've colored this sample and this sample. This one I use paint sticks. It's supposed to be more kid friendly. You can just do any design. This one I use paint markers. So I'll do a couple on camera, and then I'll pass on the rest to my kids to do, to show you what they can do. So we're going to do this one with paint sticks, and we're just going to make some fun little stripes on it. It is a bit hard to color with paint sticks just because of the shape of it. I do think that you might be better off just with traditional paint. I'm using paint sticks because I want it to dry quickly. I will probably be giving my kids paint sticks as well. I want them to be able to, you know, just do it and be done with it. And I don't feel like dealing with paint. But you can see that it doesn't go into the ridges so nicely. I'm getting it all over my background, which I anyway need to refresh. All right. This one's a little dry. Nothing that can't be fixed by getting that top layer off. All right, so that's one with paint sticks. You can see it's fun, it's easy to get right. Now for a little bit more detail work, you're going to want to use paint markers. So my main set doesn't come with a gold. So we're doing the crown with this other one. We'll add some gems. That's the advantage of using paint markers, is that you can layer it. Let's make this an angry king. Outline the eye. And you can go as detailed as you want with this, but we're not going too detailed. When you're done, you're going to punch holes and add an elastic. And that is all. Your crown will be ready, your mask will be ready to wear. This is a 1/16 of an inch hole punch. Of course, you can use a traditional one as well. And you can definitely get like pre-made mask elastics. It makes it easier if you're crafting a lot. They usually have these like metal things that you stick in. If you're just making one or two and you prefer a more generic craft supply that you can use after. See, the advantage of the small hole is that you can do a knot like that. If you're doing a larger hole, you'll need to tie it around the whole knot. And there we go. That's how you make the masks. So I'm going to finish all of these up, give my kids some to make, and then come back and show you the rest. All right, so here we go. So I did switch things up a little bit. I've been crafting since yesterday, and I'm going to show you what I did. So these were the crafts that I made. This is one mask that I made. Here's another. These I used paint sticks, and I was having a little bit of trouble getting them into the cracks. They seem to be too big. These I did using paint markers, and they work really, really well. They sort of get into the cracks, but it's not necessarily the ideal thing for younger kids. Now, this is the one that my 9-year-old made. The one that my 2- and 5-year-old made, I couldn't really share because my 2-year-old, I don't know, disappeared. I think he threw it in the garbage. And my 5-year-old wrote her name in huge letters, and I don't share her name for personal privacy reasons. So that's the one that my 9-year-old made. He made it completely on his own. It was his idea to do the cat elements. He cut the eyes on his own. He did measure the placement from an existing mask, but he just took initiative, found a paper plate and made it. So to do this, he actually used these crayons. Now these are Cat Parade. They're watercolor gel crayons. You can see we're missing two. These are very well used. They are an absolute favorite in my house. And so he just sort of scribbled his. He's not so much into coloring as much as he is into cutting, but you can see that he really had fun with it. And also, if you do care more about the final result that you want kids to come home with, they can watercolor over this. These are watercolors. So he didn't do that, and I'm going to offer him to do it tonight. But that, like, really, you can get a good result with this. And so I decided to go ahead and try that, and it worked much better. I was able to get much better lines. So this is the one that I sort of remade. And then I had the idea to just go and do plain old watercolors. So I would recommend, if you have the dry time, watercolors really seem to be the best. You can get more detailed. You can just do a wash like this. Otherwise, if you can swing it, use this. For older kids, go with paint markers. You can use markers. The problem is that a paper plate has a slightly glossy surface, so it can get a bit messy. So I do recommend paint markers for older kids and one of these other mediums for younger kids. And you definitely can use paint sticks if that's what you have. It'll just be a little bit harder. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Please hit the subscribe button. I'd love it if you showed me support. It definitely helps me create more content. Share this with a Mora or a Hebrew school teacher who you know would love it. And share my channel with anybody who you know would enjoy watching fun tutorials, crafts, tips, lifestyle content for the Jewish year. Have fun crafting.